All right, if you followed along the previous tutorial, you should have something that looks a little bit like this, with a fairly empty environment and a red cube. Um, and if we hit play, we should have the Oculus plugin set up and our animated hands in there where we can reach out and interact with this cube and pass it back and forth or just kind of toss it. And it doesn't have any gravity at the moment, so it just kind of flies off into the ether there when we release it. So we're going to use this as a base and talk about how to improve on it a little bit and maybe get the physics to work a little bit more naturally and make it so we can grab things and throw them and that. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn gravity back on for this cube. We don't want it to just fly away forever. And that will let me pick it up and toss it a little bit more naturally. It'll also make it just immediately fall to the floor. So let's drive back over, we'll pick it up, and I can kind of toss it from hand to hand. I can catch it some of the time. And I can go ahead and throw it. And one thing I'm noticing is that when I throw it, it's not feeling very natural. So the weight of the object feels wrong, the momentum feels wrong. So we want to be able to adjust things to have a little bit of control over how they fly after we release them. We don't want it to just be the built-in natural physics that we're stuck with. So let's talk about how to do that. When you grab something and release it, all that is controlled by the OVR grabber script that comes with the Oculus plugin. And let's go ahead and double click and open that script. Down towards the bottom we have a function called grab end, which gets called when you release the button, you release the object. And essentially what it's doing is just taking the velocity of your hand at the point of release and applying that velocity to the object you let go of. And what we want to do is add a multiplier to that. So if we want the velocity to be higher and it to travel further, we can multiply it by a large number. If we want it to be smaller, we can multiply it by something less than 1 and dampen down the motion. So let's go up to the top here, and we're just going to add a variable, so a floating point number called throw gain, which will be our multiplier, and initially we'll set it to 1, so the velocity times 1 will just be the velocity, and then we can ramp it up or down from there. We're going to make the variable public. Anything that's public, if we save the script, will show up here in the editor in a second. Give it time to think here. There it goes. So there's our throw gain of 1, and the left hand has this as well, so it also has its own throw gain. And we can even set these separately, so if I want the left hand to throw at a gain of 2 and the right hand to throw at a gain of 1 for some reason, we can do that. And let's go ahead and jump back to our script here. Now that we have a variable, we need to be able to use it. So we have a throw gain defined up at the top, and we'll come back down to this function, and we'll use it to multiply the linear velocity. So when we calculate the initial linear velocity of the hand, then we're going to take it and multiply it by our throw gain. So that should do it for us. And again, we'll save that and jump back here, and let's see what we got. So I set my left hand to a gain of 2 and my right hand to a gain of 1, which should give me different throwing values on those. So let's go ahead and grab this. Oh, yep, so that's working. You can see the left hand goes a lot higher, and we can kind of adjust these as we need to. So 2 feels a little bit strong. I'm going to back it down to maybe 1.7, maybe 1.75. And let's go ahead and set both of the hands together so it's a little more balanced. And we'll go ahead and pick that up. And I can't catch. Alright. Alright, so that feels much more natural. So now we have a cube that we can pick up and throw, and it falls back to the earth again. and we can adjust it dynamically to make it throw farther or shorter as needed. One thing I do need to check is, since I edited these values during play mode, as soon as I turn play mode off, they're all going to revert back to the initial value. So we do need to type that back in again. We decided that 1.75 felt pretty natural, so we'll get that. And then I'm going to save my scene just to make sure all those changes get saved.